afternoon, people. It is Saturday. I'm usually not on here with you guys on a Saturday, but we got a little special edition thing we doing right now. This is Uptown Radio. I am Uptown Brown, and today we are going to introduce a new segment of the Uptown Radio series called The Rundown with Uptown Brown. Like I said, I am Uptown Brown, and today we are going to have an interview with the writer and producer of the documentary Die Willie Die. It is about the Willie Lynch theory. You know what I'm saying? It's a great documentary, definitely one of the best that I have ever seen. And we are going to chop it up and talk about his film. So I hope that you guys will enjoy this interview. I hope you guys learn some things and decide to go do your own independent research and, help us heal from this trauma of, the Willie Lynch that has definitely been plaguing our people in our community for a long time. Long time. I'm saying. Ron is, he's definitely in the building, you know what I'm saying? So without further ado, we're going to bring Ron in and we're going to dive right into this interview. Hope you guys are having a beautiful Saturday. What's going on, brother?
How you feeling, my man?
I'm well. And yourself?
All is well. All is well.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, once again, this is Ron Elliott Jr., the writer and producer of the documentary Die Willie Die. So, tell us about yourself, man.
Well, just a kid from Detroit, west side of Detroit, born and raised, husband of one wife, father of four girls. And, I'm a guy out here, man, trying to make some changes with the gifts that I have,
Okay, four girls. Oh, my God.
Yeah, man.
I got two in his heart, so I can imagine.
my youngest are twins. So
okay,
I got
that's definitely a blessing.
I got the double, I don't like to call them trouble, but they definitely are the tag team, They know how to play off each other.
Got you. So tell me about, your background and, like the process of making this film.
So my background is vast. And what I mean by that is I've done a million things, right? Primarily, as it relates to the film, I have a background in music production, songwriting, all that type of stuff. And
yeah, because that's you rapping on the intro, correct?
Yes, that's me. Pretty much anything you hear rapping on the movie is me.
That was one of the first things when I was watching it that caught my attention because I'm like, this is actually some bars here.
Oh, you like the rhymes?
Oh, listen. I like it so much that I was actually on iTunes looking for the soundtrack.
I'm gonna have to send you a copy. It's not on there.
Oh, all right. You know what I'm saying?
It's not on there. But yeah, like in terms of creativity, my background is in music. I'm primarily been an entrepreneur I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19, but in terms of doing nothing but my own businesses, probably now almost 10 years. And most recently, I was in real estate. So, a lot of this film, like making this film, comes from a collaboration of thoughts, things I've learned just growing up and as a musician and as an investor, a real estate investor. All these things are like transferable skills to help, with making the film. In terms of, you said, why did I make the film or?
Oh, yeah. Well, I definitely want to know that. Why?
So the film itself, initially I was going to write a book, which I did write a book called The Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Man, to kind of counteract the Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Slave. But you see in the movie, you see that the movie's not necessarily, drenched in Willie Lynch per se, but it's more about healing. Yeah, the effects of Willie Lynch and healing from those effects. I decided to make a movie during, with the lockdown when we were like, everything was just shut down. And I was like, I had COVID early, and I had like a day where I really thought I was dying. You know what I mean? I didn't know if I was gonna wake up the next morning.
Well, we
And
glad you're still here. You know.
you and I both, brother. And after that day, I kind of felt like charged to move fast on everything I ever wanted to do. You know what I mean? And one of the main things I wanted to do was make sure I was giving my kids some blueprints so that if something happened to me, I was gone. Here's everything I need you to know. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
you can have success. And so I kind of set out my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna write more books because I had already written two, and I said I'm gonna write more books. And the Willie Lynch thing was one of the main things on my mind because it was one of the things that I noticed that kind of happened in my personal life. You know what I mean? And I wanted to change that with my kids. So I sought out to write a book, and then I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, yo, everybody at home watching Netflix. Nobody's reading books. So let's make a movie. And that's kind of how we got on that path.
Okay, so my next question for you. So in watching the film, I realized that you had a very like eclectic group of commentators. You had, a guy that, used to be in the street life and, but then you also have Royce the 5'9", right? So how did you go about deciding who you wanted to have do commentary for this film?
A lot of it came from the idea of black people come with so many different black people, right? Like we got so many different classes. We grow up in different ways. And I've lived an interesting life where I cross paths with so many different types of people, right? I didn't want to make a movie that was only for a certain type of person, but something that was for all of us, right? And so I wanted to include people on all different levels so that you have people you may not relate to. The guy you mentioned in Don, you may not be able to relate to Don, right? But you can maybe relate to Vu, or you may not be able to relate to Dr. Robinson, but you may be able to relate to David, right? So I wanted to make sure I had different people with different
Make sure you cover
expertise.
the spectrum.
Yeah, because I didn't want you may not relate to me, right? You may not, you got kids. One of my kids sometimes like I'm talking to a brick wall, right? It's like whatever I'm saying, she like whatever you saying it. Somebody else turn around and say it, and it sounded like God spoke to her. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I wanted to make sure people had a variety of voices that they could draw from. So it wasn't just this is what Ron is saying, but maybe you resonate better with somebody else.
I mean, that definitely was something that I appreciated. Like I said, I paid attention to the different commentators you had. So you had therapists, you had Don, you had Royce the Fountain. So I appreciated the fact that you had different perspectives. So, like now that you explain it, it definitely makes a lot more sense. So this film, right? One of the I've been dying to ask you this question.
Okay.
So would you consider this a film that is for us, meaning Black people, or is it for everyone, or is it for us first and then everyone else?
Honestly, it's for Black people. I mean, for me, I made it because the Black family is so fractured and we're so easily programmed to not love ourselves. You know what I mean? So my whole intent was the intent was never to offend anybody else, but it was definitely geared towards, hey, if you're a Black person in America, this is for you to be able to change your situation in your life, because everybody else, they don't have the same experience that we have. You know what I mean? And I
Absolutely.
actually had a friend ask me, a young white lady. She said, "Can anybody watch the movie?" I said, "Yeah, everybody can watch the movie, but you may not understand." You know what I mean? It may not. You may, let's say, I do have friends that have watched the movie and Ron, this is powerful. I understand why you had to do it, right? But you still don't understand until you can put your Timbs on and walk through the hood, or you know what I'm saying, through your fitted on, or
I
had
mean,
the
I get it. That's one of the reasons why I asked the question, because I watched the movie. I definitely felt like this is something that any and everybody that I know that's Black should see. And then if other people could catch on and possibly resonate, that's fine. But I feel like from my mindset, it was for us first. But obviously, I can't make that decision for you. That's why I got to go to the source and ask you.
Yeah. No, I mean, anybody, I believe people from other cultures can benefit from watching it because they can maybe get some insight. Because a lot of times, people from other cultures, they look at the things that we complain about, right? And they think it's just a complaint. You're just complaining. Get over it. Go, figure it out. The world has moved on. You know what I mean? But what they don't understand is that it's a deep-seated trauma that comes with being black in America that other cultures, they just don't, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily being black in the world. It's more so being black in America. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, they might, I mean, it can open up some eyes, but like I said, if you don't like it, because I get a lot of hate mail. If you don't like it, so what? It's not for you. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, you can't please everybody. I'm sure you're not out here trying to please everybody, so it is what it is,
For sure.
So what was it important to you to add a hip hop element to the film?
I think it was essential. Meaning, like for me, like I grew up, I am hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I'm that generation. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm from that generation where they said hip hop, what's that trash y'all listening to? That'll never last. That's not music. Why y'all
Absolutely. I
listening to
mean,
that? Like
I get it. I'm 42, so we are
we
both,
the same age. We in the
children of
same
that generation.
yeah, we in the same generation. So I grew up in hip hop. Everything I remember experience hip hop allowed me to see that New York is not that much different than Detroit. That Compton is like Detroit. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was able to hear other people say things that I was seeing in my life through this music. And of course, we know now hip hop is the most dominant genre of music in the world. And it's always been, to me, the most powerful and most influential. So for me, for that being a part of who I am, me as a creative, I can't, it would be impossible for me to deliver this type of content without including that element. You know what I mean? Because it's who we are as a culture right now. This is, if we're going to affect change, one of the most powerful things you have in this world is music. You know what I mean? Because it controls our mood. When we down, you listen to a song and pick you up. If you want to be down more, listen to a song that's going to take you down more. If you want to think, you listen to something more insightful. So it was just one of those things where I felt like if I'm going to give you something, I got to give you all of me.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, I noticed from the very beginning when, you have the intro and the music and the artwork that correlates with it, like it definitely, the hip hop element caught my attention from the very beginning. It was one of those things where like you said, I am a child of the hip hop generation, and I watched it thinking to myself, like, if I was attempting to make a documentary about the Willie Lynch theory, it would probably look very similar to what you created.
Yeah.
So I want to throw a little curveball at you for a second, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So I am definitely like a avid documentary watcher. One of my favorite documentaries that I've made all of my children watch is the 13th.
Yes, that was a good
You know what
one.
I'm saying? I feel like it's important for them to know that. So, in doing a comparison in my mind, right? As much as I love the 13th, I feel like your documentary kind of hit me a little bit more, because the 13th is actually about something that really does exist. Like, there's legislation that exists that creates a whole structure to bring down black folks, right? But the Willie Lynch theory is literally, it's not something that exists. It's something that we are literally doing to ourselves, which kind of, when you think about it, hits a little different, because it's like, yo, like, we can't even blame anyone for this but us. But it's because of the generational trauma that has been passed on to us that a lot of us aren't even aware of, that this is why we're going through. And there are so many people that probably aren't aware. So it just felt good to see somebody shine a light on this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so when you mention like this feeling different, right? one thing that I wanted to do is because I like documentaries, right? But documentaries are like always talking about what happened in the past. You know what I mean? Like, well, most of the time, and not even necessarily what happened in the past, but they're always just addressing the problem. You know, here's the problem. And then a
But
bunch of
never,
people line up and tell you the problem. I
right?
didn't want to do that. You know, I didn't want this to feel like the typical documentary. And you know, when you talk to people like, yeah, I'm making a documentary, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? But when you see it, you're like, yo, this is so much more than just a documentary. You know what I mean? I had a fellow New Yorker, and I don't know if he's gassing. I don't take him as a gassing type of guy, but he was like, man, you got reasonable doubt of documentaries. And I'm like, wow, like to hear something like that for
No,
me,
not listen. I agree.
wow.
I I mean, it was one of those things where, like, I mean, when I got a chance, when you sent the link, and I got a chance to sit down, you know what I'm saying, with you know, my business partner, and we're watching the film, right? Like, I was, like I said, from the very beginning, from the hip hop element, seeing, you know, the eclectic group of commentators that you had, and then there was a whole section of it, like you said, dedicated to how do we fix this? How do we move on? What's going to be our next steps?
Yeah.
So when you think about the fact that you actually brought the topic full circle, and I mean, obviously, like, we don't have all the answers, right? I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers,
Right.
but at least it's sparking the conversation so that way we can get to the answers.
And that was the goal. Like, you know, if somebody said, what's the perfect situation for the movie? It's like, yo, to get Black people talking about healing, right? To just identify that, you know, we have these traumas, right? Because, you know, we can blame somebody for it, but what good does it do to blame people for something that's happened years ago? You know what I mean? That you can control yourself, right? I could blame my father or my mother for why I am the way I am, but ultimately I still had a choice and the power to change, right? So the whole thing was to get people out of this, you know, somebody's controlling me mindset into I have the power so that I can change the future. Like, we have the power to change the future, no matter what happened in the past. Right now, in this moment, we have the power, and that's all I really wanted people to get from the film is when they see this, I want them to feel like, yo, okay, yeah, that happened, but I can change it.
I mean, one of the things that I often say is that the pathway to growth is accountability. So
Yeah,
if we take accountability for what we did, all right, that's fine. We did it to ourselves. We were unaware, manipulated, all that good stuff. All right, like, what are we gonna do next?
yeah, and that's it. That's what you got to think like that, or you're gonna
Um,
be stuck.
so there was a section of the movie where you talked about the isms that Black people face. You know, for those of you who are watching who are unaware of these isms, we talk about racism, colorism, sexism, classism. You know, and it's funny, right? Because when I watch that, I have a podcast that I do with my friends called Ratchet Thoughts and Isms, right?
Oh, okay.
So I immediately, when you started talking about the isms in the doc, you know, like I connected to it. So what do you think we can do as people to tackle the different isms that we face?
So that's a massive on taking. I think everything kind of starts with us as individuals, right? I think we first, like I talk about this in the film about programming, right? I think we got to kind of change our inputs. So what we're thinking about in terms of the isms and how we live, right? So example, you know, racism. Well, Black people, because racism is more systemic than anything else, I, there's nothing really that we personally can do about racism. You know what I mean? We can understand that it's a system and that we have to learn to navigate the system, but we can't necessarily, we're not empowered yet. I'm gonna say yet because I hope that we get to this place. But that takes unity we're not empowered yet to change that. But things like classism, particularly classism with black people, that's a simple choice. You know what I mean? When you come up, go back. You know what I mean? Go back to the hood. Like, go help somebody else's kid that may not have exposure to the lifestyle that you have, or don't run. You know, I'm calling it black flight. Like they used to call it white flight. You know what I mean? When black people started moving into the communities and white people started moving out. Now, at least here in Detroit, you got white people moving into the communities. You got black people leaving, right? But the people that are leaving can afford to leave, and the people who can't afford to leave, they're there, right? We need to
But
start a. Go ahead.
I feel like the only reason that the white people are coming in is because they probably are aware that within the next couple of years that gentrification is going to happen, and they want to be first in line to benefit.
It's a great economic strategy. I mean, buy low, sell high, right? So, but we don't invest in ourselves. Like we have to, for the back, like to keep it in the same construct of what you're talking about, the isms. We have to stop looking at each other as being so different. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, you there, right? We got to look at it like we us, and we got to look out for us. You know what I'm saying? We got to look out for our own poor people. We got to look out for our own neighbors. You know what I mean? That's how we crush the ism. And if we keep that mindset, because I have friends now that's like, why you still live in the city? Like, why do you live in the city? And I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, why shouldn't I live in the city? You know what I mean? It's kids that they grown now that came through my backyard that I kept out of trouble because I kept them in my backyard playing basketball because I had a basketball rim and I wasn't using it. So I let the kids in the neighborhood stay in my backyard every day. You know what I mean? That kept those kids out the street. They kept those kids from doing stuff they shouldn't do. That gave me opportunity to have conversations with these kids about manhood, things that I didn't have growing up. You know what I'm saying? So if more of us don't run out and stay in, you know what I mean? And even if we do leave, all right, you left. Go open up businesses in your neighborhood where you from, you know what I mean? And show that we the same, you know what I mean? I think the classism is the biggest for us. I think that's the biggest hurdle for us. You know, we still have colorism. You know, that's a psychological thing that we deal with. Some people, I see that more on a interpersonal note, you know, people being more insecure about how they look. But, you know, even with marketing, it's still marketed it that way. I heard somebody use the term fair skin the other day. Oh, my skin started itching and cringing. They was like, oh yeah, you're just fair skin. I'm like, what's fair skin? You know what I mean? Like we still using these terms. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, people still use phrases like people of color. They're just saying black. Like either way, like, you know, like I don't know, when I hear the term of like people of color, like it definitely makes me feel away. Like you could just say black. I'm cool with that.
But I realize though, people of color now is not just black people. It's like synonymous with being a minority. You know what I mean? Because somebody asked me something. They asked me, was this for people of color or is this for black people specifically? You know what I mean? Even the idea and ideology of black, you know what I mean? I roll with it because it's common. You know what I mean? It's like Jesus. You know what I mean? Jesus is common, but Jesus ain't really Jesus' name. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we refer to him as. So if you say Jesus, I know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? But that ain't Jesus' name. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with black. It's like that's part of the racism. We not colored. We not black. All right? I'm brown. You brown.
True.
My wife is like, I don't know, beige. I don't know, but we get wrapped up in the color, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a line on where we're from. Irish person is an Irish person because they're from Ireland. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that's British is British because they're from England. You know, they're from Great Britain. Somebody from Nigeria, Nigerians don't refer to themselves as I'm a black person. They refer to themselves as Nigerian because they from Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? So for us, even the term African American, you know, why are we not just Americans? I'm born and raised in America. I don't know no other country. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's because when you think about the different, it's all marketing, and marketing can be weaponized. Like one of the marketing terms that I hate in life, and there's very few things that I hate, but I hate the term black on black crime,
Oh yeah,
because
that's horrible.
it's not used to describe any other people. Like, you've never heard the term white
White
on
on
white
white crime.
crime, or Asian, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
that marketing term is created to make us look like we are savages who do nothing but kill each other.
yeah. They,
You know what I'm saying?
my daughter showed me this video yesterday, and it was like people of the world or something like that. It's like an animated video, and it has like this little white kid, and it's supposed to make you not discriminate, so to say, right? But then
Right.
it has everybody kind of like singing a song, and they're singing a song, and it's like the black people come on, they're like ooga booga ooga ooga, and the Asian people are like ding ching ching whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then
What?
they take the Mexican people, and the Mexican people they like and the Mexican people they're like singing chimichanga, right? And I'm like, yo, this is
That's not racist.
like this is supposed to fix the problem. It doesn't make sense. So we get caught in these constructs. The whole thing of the color and in the name. I'm black or African American. It's disheartening, and I would hope that we get to a place where, because when we start talking about race, white people, I have some white friends, and they're like, "Why are you so insistent on promoting blackness? Like, black people this, black people that. We're all." They say things like, "We're all American." I'm like, "You're right, we are all American, but you've been taught to have pride in who you are, and I've been taught to hate who I am and not embrace who I am, and I've been raped of who I am because I don't even know who I am or where I'm from.
Absolutely.
I have no real context to go back and if when I look down my lineage, I got slave owners is great grandparents. You know what
Well,
I mean?
there are other people who aren't black who believe in this false narrative, this illusion of equality, and it's not that way.
Right.
So that's why you can have someone come to you and say, well, why are you so big or promote? Because in your mind, you have an illusion that is equal.
Yeah.
You're like, you got blinders on and you're blocking out what's really happening in the world.
Yeah, because you don't have to. A lot of times, the thing about the systemic racism is that because it's intertwined in the system, people who are just genuinely good people, that may be of a different culture, they just don't feel the effects or see the effects directly, so they never think about it. You know what I mean? So they don't realize, some of the things that they may say or some of the benefits they may have is a result of that system. You know what I mean? And it doesn't affect them because they're not on the other side. Like I tell my friends all the time, we use the same analogy, and we've all seen this. As a black person, when the police pull up behind me, even if I'm doing nothing wrong, I get nervous.
Facts.
Because I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know. Is this guy going to? I was watching. You watch Power?
I love Power. Yes, I do.
Have you watched the newest one with Tommy?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So sorry if y'all haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna.
That's all right. We're gonna spoil it for them. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna ruin the scene for you. It's a scene in the last episode where he's in the car with this black guy.
Where his brother? That was his brother.
No, not that one. Not
his
brother.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
He was in the car with the gang leader.
Yeah, the barbershop dude.
Yeah. So the barber is sitting in the car, minding his business in Tommy's car. Police pulls him over. He got his gun out. He ready to violate my man. He wanted to shoot the dude. The dude's like, I'm not getting out the car. I'm not taking my hand off the steering wheel. Officer, I'm not doing anything to offend you. I just want to be.
And he's talking as calm as possible, and the white officer is getting more and more. The calmer he talks, the more aggressive the officer.
The more aggressive he gets, because he's trying to get him off his square. So as soon as he move his hand to get his wallet, Bam! Oh, he was reaching for a gun, right?
And then he gonna justify it as a clean shot.
And he gonna justify as a clean shot. Tommy comes out, hey man, what's up? Oh no, this
Hey,
is my
bro.
car.
He hit him with the hey, bro.
Hey, bro, yeah. And the cop's like, oh wait, this your car? Like, yeah, it's my car. Everything is good. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden it's a whole different disposition. You know what I mean? Now, the sad thing about it is a black cop would do you like that too. Because the police mindset has been trained that you, with your hoodie on, you got a hoodie and a cap on, and you're a criminal. You know what I mean?
I mean,
so
I think one of the things that white people don't ever understand is that if you're in an area and you see and a white person sees a police presence and it look like there may be some sort of disruption going on, they see the police presence and instantly see it as a sign of relief, like, oh my God, thank God the police are here, right? Black people, when we see the police, you know what I'm saying, whether we doing something, not doing something, there's something going on near us, we instantly like, oh my God, like, you know, like now we gotta think through every step that we do, because we know that if we gotta interact with them, we want to come across this interaction still alive, healthy, breathing, not in cuffs.
Yeah, because you could have been a bystander and got hemmed up. It was an episode in you watched The Godfather. Well, you gotta know you watched this because you
Godfather Harlem?
Yeah, you from Harlem.
Absolutely.
It was an episode where the kid that's a singer, you know what I mean? It was like a little riot or whatever. And he just went to see what happened. He wasn't involved in the riot. He wasn't protesting.
I was just the singer he was dating the white girl.
Yeah, the guy that was dating the white girl.
Yeah.
And he just went to see what was happening. And because they erupted and he was the nearest black guy, the police just started beating him down. He wasn't there for nothing else, just to like, yo, what's going on? Next thing you know, crack upside the head. They whooping him up. You know what I mean? So you're right. You know, we look at every interaction as, you know, it's like that idea of the police state, you know, or KRS-One once said the officer is like the overseer. You know what I mean? And we cover that in the movie too. You know, we talk about that. Definitely. But yeah, it's just a different experience, man. It's locked into the fabric of America to have this aura of racism. It won't go away, but you know, we just got to work our way around it.
So I have the most important question I'm going to ask you for this interview, right? So we've been doing a lot of talk about this amazing film that you wrote and produced. Where can the people see this movie?
So we have one screening, online only. It's February 28th. DieWillieFilm.com. Die Willie.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Die Willie Film. DIEWILLIE Film. Y'all know how to spell film.com. February 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and again at 7 p.m. PST for the people on the West Coast. And it's a one-time screening. And we're just doing that celebration for Black History Month, also to get feedback from the film as we work towards acquiring distribution where people can see it worldwide at any time on whatever streaming platform that decides to pick it up.
Gotcha. So I would definitely make sure that I would be posting the trailer and, you know, any additional information so that way you guys can run out and see it, because I already saw it. I'm going to make sure that I watch it again and support, so any final words you want to tell me about this film? Any final words of wisdom you want to drop on me? Drop some gems. What you got for me?
Hey, man, take everything one day at a time, man. Life, just keep it simple. You know, don't overcomplicate life with this illusion that we live in. It's social media and, you know, the news and fear. Don't let fear propagate your actions. You know what I mean? Because that's the world we're living in now. We're living in a world of control. And whether we recognize it or not, you know, me and my daughter and my wife were talking this morning about the future and how people are using the the virtual reality, you know, to communicate with each other. We're like, yo, in the future, you'll be able to probably walk in a space and virtually cast yourself to another space, and you and your friends, instead of using the phone, have a conversation, sitting in the same room, but not really be in the same room, right? But
That's
feel
concrete.
like you're there. With that stuff happening, we're becoming what's Elon Musk said, that we are already he didn't say robots, but we're like entangled in the system. You know what I'm saying? So I want to encourage people, and hopefully with Die Willie Die, they see this too, is to just unplug, man. Like that's, if I give anybody any advice, unplug. Because this simulated world that we living in, this is the world that's causing a lot of the mental health issues we have and the anxiety we have, because we're like trying to keep up with other people, because we're watching this fantasy. You know, everybody's creating a fantasy world. Nobody is who they really say they are. I mean, that's, for me, that would be the best piece of advice I can give anybody in today's climate.
Okay, definitely respect it. I mean, individuality is definitely something that is lacking in the world. We got a whole bunch of clones, people trying to be like other people, and they don't even know what the reality of the person that they trying to be like is really like.
Yeah,
So,
man, for real.
I definitely
Love
get it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Love
So,
you.
tell people again, Die Willie film.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Western or PST, Pacific Standard Time. I'm about to say Western Standard Time. Pacific Standard Time.
Do you have any social media, anything like that that you want to promote for the people so they could follow you, so that way they could keep up with any and everything that you have going on now, anything that you got coming up in the future?
Oh yeah, you can find me everywhere online at Ron's Life Speaks. Ron's Life Speaks. You should see it somewhere on the screen, I would think. But yeah, you can find me everywhere. Ron's Life Speaks. You also can find information about the movie at Die Willie Film.
Yeah, I just started following the Die Willie Film Instagram account, so I'm definitely gonna
Appreciate it.
make sure that I post it and share it with the people, so that way everybody can just keep in touch with what you got going on. I'm sure that film was definitely, like I said, amazing. One of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and I am an avid movie and documentary lover. I'm sure you have amazing things to come in your future. So whenever you got anything new coming up, you know what I'm saying, make sure you connect with your boy, so that way I could, keep you out here current in the streets and let people know what you got going on.
No doubt. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for
I
having me.
appreciate your time, bro. Bless.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, have a good one, man.